Okay, good morning. Good morning, everybody. We're once again very happy to see all of you online. And together we are joined here to review the Wondrous Lotus Sutra. And today is very special. I will reveal the specialness today later. But as we are joined from our friends from afar, today we're doing the review. And as you all know that Master hasn't been on Xun Fa Xiang for a while. And however, so we are just taking the time, we're just taking the questions from everybody and hoping that we're going to learn some of the Dharma from all the questions. And so by way of doing that, we are putting our lives together, connect our lives together. And I think that's something that is very important. So let us review. So first of all, last week, once again, we go through some of the questions and answers, and then we talk about the support system in Buddhism. And for those of you that weren't here last week, we talked about, we're trying to help resolving some questions. So one of you guys asked, why do each time I put on the uniform, I'm filled with joy and more patient? And then when you're taking out the uniform, then you are very tired and stressed. Well, we talked about the importance of feeling connected. We talked about if you're connected to the things that you're doing, if you're connected to the people that you're helping, if you're connected to the people that you're doing this with, then you will feel joy, you will feel very energetic. At the same time, if you're not connected to the things that you are doing, then it doesn't matter how meaningful that thing is. If you're not connected to the people that you're helping, or if you're not connected to the people that you're doing this with, then it really doesn't matter how meaningful things are. You are not going to feel the joy that other people would feel. And therefore, Tzu Chi is about making people connected. It's about making people who would otherwise not know each other connected. For example, you and I, without Tzu Chi, we would not be connected. We would not know each other. Your lives and your problems would be your lives and your problem. It will not be mine. But because we are connected, we begin to experience each other. And because of we are connected, when we work on things together, it becomes meaningful. It becomes more than just something that we are doing. So I also remember that we talked about how connected we are through the examples that happen in Africa. Without Tzu Chi, we would not know and share the lives and happiness and joy of the people in Africa. They would just be people of Africa, nothing to do with us. But because we are connected, something that we do there makes sense. It's meaningful. And same thing, when something happens here, a disaster happened here, people in different parts of the world feel connected to us, and therefore it derives meaning. So once again, and we talk about the joy and happiness, it only comes when you feel the sense of duty and responsibility. When you are connected, then you feel the duty and the responsibility that's connected to you. So because you're people connected, things becomes connected to you by duty and responsibility. And therefore, whatever you do, even if you're tired, even if you are bleeding, sweating, or crying, you will still feel the joy and the happiness within you. And that's what we call willingness. Because you are willing, you will feel the joy. It's not the state of physical exertion. It's the state of spiritual fulfillment. That's what willingness means. So we also talked about, well, yeah, that's great, but you're connected to people, but then you're going to encounter difficulty. What do you do? And that's what we talk about, the support system in Buddhism. What are the support systems in Buddhism? It's actually very simple. It's what we chant every day. It's the 3 refuge. The refuge, what does that mean? It actually means that instead of trying to, whenever you have any difficulties and challenges, we can seek refuge. And in Buddhism, we overcome the challenges by seeking the refuge in the 3 jewels. And what does that mean? What does it mean when you seek refuge? Does it mean that there's a small house, a small cabin? You run in there and then you're going to find your safety zones there? What does that mean? And we talked about the 3 jewels in Buddhism, the 3 refuges that we are taking. It's the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is the Lord Buddha, is our teacher. The Dharma is the teachings, and the Sangha are the practitioners. But in reality, what all three means is that we take refuge in the Buddha, our teacher, which means we need to listen and learn. Whenever we encounter problems, we listen to other people that are before us, that know how to resolve these problems. We listen to our elders. We listen to our teachers. And then we learn from them. And that's what the Buddha is talking about. The first jewel, the Buddha. The second jewel is the Dharma. It's for us to think and contemplate. The teacher teaches us this lesson. How does this apply to us? How does this apply to my situation? Or it has nothing to do at all. So the Buddha represents the teacher. The Dharma represents the material and how we are connected to the material. Do not think when Master talks about different places, right? When most of you are from Malaysia, some of you are from Singapore, I'm here in Taiwan. When Master talks about a different place, it doesn't mean that it's only talking about that place. Same thing. When the Buddha talks about the Dharma, the teachings of 2,500 years ago, we must think and contemplate, how does it apply to us now, here, and today? That's the connection between the teacher and the student. It's the teaching itself. It is timeless. And also the Sangha are the people, the monks and the nuns of Buddhism. And what does that mean? It represents practice and action. It's no longer just a teacher that is from 2,500 years ago. It's no longer something, it's a teaching material that is from ages past, but rather it's now and here. It's you and me. It's Sangha, practice and action. So how do we get through the challenges and the difficulties? First, we listen and learn. Second, we think and we contemplate. Third, we put it into practice and we put it into action. So these are the support systems of Buddhism. These are the things that will help us. That will help us overcome the challenges and difficulties. So at the end of last week, we talked about seeking refuge does not mean running away from problems. In Buddhism, it's not about running away. It's actually trying to help you find a way to process the problems. It's trying to find a way for you to learn to deal with the problems. It doesn't tell the answer. It doesn't tell you the answer right away. You cannot open the sutra and then it will tell you, oh, turn left or turn right or continue straight forward for 10 steps before turning left. It doesn't tell you any of that. However, it tells you what we can do to think about the problem, to process the problem, and to deal with the result. That's what seeking refuge means. Because the most fearful thing in the world is what? The most fearful thing in the world is not knowing what to do when you are confronted with a problem. People are going to face problems all the time. But it's not fearful if you know how to confront it, if you know how to deal with it. And that's what Buddhism gives you. Seeking refuge means, let me tell you of a way to deal with the problem. Not running away, but to process it and to deal with them. So that's what we talked about last week. And one of you also asked about a dream that the husband had. And so you really want me to help you decipher what the dream means. And I share with everybody, I really don't know what the dream means. And I don't even remember my own dream. So it's really difficult for me to tell you what your dream means. But I can tell you that, in the dream, the Master Cheng Yen, showed up and brought him to the forest, and very beautiful and peaceful. And this is what I was thinking. That's what we talked about last week, right? Refuge. Now, all these forests, it means peace. It means something that is joyous. It's a place where we go there, we will be able to find home. So whether you are in Malaysia or Singapore or any other place, whether you're in Taiwan or in Africa or in the Americas, the idea of seeking refuge is to bring you home, because that's where the answer is. That's how to deal with problems. Seeking refuge, does that mean you run home crying? No, but seeking refuge means you go home and you find the answer. Home is where you can find the answer because that's where the teachers are, that's where the family is, and they will give you the strength and support to find and confront the difficulties. And that's what Buddhism really does help you. So this week, guess what we're going to talk about? Same thing, connected. What does that mean to be connected? That's what we're going to talk about. And also through the QA, through the questions and answers, we're also trying to answer the idea of connected and what does that mean. So all of these things we're trying to do is trying to not go through the sutras itself, but to understand the surroundings. How do we best use it? How do we best understand it? So the questions that was asked, and I think this is a very difficult question to answer. Okay, it's difficult, and at the same time it's very straightforward. So one of you asked, a few years ago, a sibling was killed in a road accident. From then on, my mother became very pessimistic. She does not believe that good deeds will yield good rewards. Our family members have not done anything sinful. Why must we be punished? One of my relatives has been carrying out unlawful activities, but the family is very prosperous. I have read about cause and effect and have attempted explaining to her, but without success. What should I do? So these things, these questions, and let me first tell you that I am connected to you, that I am connected to this question, that these questions came to me, and I also have these questions. We understand cause and effect, and how is it that we understand it, but sometimes we cannot even understand it ourselves. We cannot apply ourselves. So let me first tell you by saying that your sibling, the sibling was killed in a road accident, and you said that our family members, have not done anything sinful. So why must we be punished? And let me tell you, it's not just your family that lost a member, but it's we as a community lost a member. You are the most immediate impact of this of the fact that this member was lost, but the entire community lost a member, and people do not realize the impact. For example, I'm not sure what the occupation of your sibling, but we would never know of all the great things that your sibling might have accomplished because your sibling is no longer with us. So it's not just your family that lost a member, but it's the community, it's the society as a whole that have lost a member. And so understand this, we are connected. It's not just your family that lost the sibling, but it's we as a whole. But you must be asking, Joe, but how do you feel? How do you feel how I lose? The fact that we lose a family member, it's very different. Yes, exactly. We are connected, but we're also feeling differently. This is the map of Taiwan of today, actually, at around 6 a.m. And it shows you the average, the rainfall of across Taiwan, and also the dam that traps this water. And if you have been following the news recently, you will know that if you've been following Taiwan news recently, you will know that in fact there was a drought going on. There is just not enough rain, and there's not enough water, and there's a drought going on. So all the small dots out there, for all the blue dots means that's where the dam is. Okay, the dam that traps the water, that accumulates the water. And the blue dot means that the dam is actually having ample water. The water in these dams are actually adequate. The green one is slowly going into drought, slowly going into problems. But the yellow one are going into restriction. It goes into the first stage of the water restriction, and then it goes on. And so why am I showing you this picture? Because this picture, it shows you in the past 2 days, this picture actually does not show that, but in the past 2 days, we have been experiencing torrential rain. Where? In the southern part of Taiwan. Southern part, not northern part, southern part. And it's wonderful news. Why? Because that's where the drought is. So we have torrential rain. We have huge rain coming down in the southern part. And in parts of the southern part, they were flooding because it was too much rain. And then there were places where it was drought. But look at this picture. All the places where you have normal and abundant water is where? It's in the north, where there is no rain and there was no drought. But water is fine. But if you look at the south, it's a little bit weird. If you look at the lower box, you will still see drought happening. And at the same time, I did not show you in this picture, but you would also see that there was a lot of flooding. So why does this happen? Why does this happen? Why does it that it rains at the place that it was drought, but we still have drought going on at the same time we have flooding? I remember there was this picture in Thailand. There was a flooding in Thailand, and there were a lot of police officers, and there were a lot of police, and there were a lot of military. They were out on the street helping distribution. And then they were drinking what? They were drinking bottled water. Why are they drinking bottled water? Because there was a drought going on. They have no water. They have to import the water from the water bottle from the containers. And this is what exactly the question was asking. Why is it that we didn't do anything wrong, but we are punished? And why is it that someone else has done everything wrong, but they were prosperous? Well, here is something that you cannot explain. I'm explaining this to you in that you are reigning at a place that is mostly drought, and yet you are having drought at the same time, flooding. But in the people in the north, there was no drought and there's very little rain, but the water is ample. Why? We are all connected in Taiwan. We're all connected here together, but we're at different places. So at the same time that there's drought, at the same time that there is abundance of water, but we're connected. So connected but different. We're connected on this planet, but we're standing at different locations. Just like this picture. We are on the roller coaster. All the people sitting on the roller coaster are connected because they're sitting on the same roller coaster. But there are people sitting in the first cart and there are people sitting in the last cart. For the people sitting in the first cart right now, they're screaming because they're going down. The people sitting in the last cart, they're connected, but they're sitting in the last cart. They're still going up. They're still going like, yeah, right, we're going up, right? But little do they know, they're going to be screaming very soon. So why am I sharing all of this with you, and how does it work with your question? We are connected to the loss of your sibling. You are most deeply impacted because you're sitting in the first cart. We have yet to be impacted because however your sibling is going to do, perhaps he's going to develop something that's going to help me, but I haven't realized that yet. And the impact will come later. So it's not just you that lost a sibling, but we as a community have lost a member of the family as well. The impact might be felt much, much later, much, much smaller in the way of the impact, but it does not mean that we will not feel it at all. Same thing. The unlawful activities carried out by other people of the family, they are feeling the most impact right now. They're sitting in the front and they're very prosperous. But at the same time, there are people eventually that the cause and effect and the karma will catch up and they will eventually feel the fall as well. These things you cannot explain because it's overcoming, it's transcending time. And that is why I want to share, there are few other questions that will come that will help you explain the answer. But that is why for different people and different situations, there are quite a number of sutras. And some of you ask, how does one know which sutra is suitable for him or her to study? And do they all have a different purpose? And for that, I give you this picture again. I must have shown this picture 3 times. And I want to show you this because this is exactly how we feel. The Buddha is sitting there. He's moving forward. Moving forward as in coming out of the screen, okay, coming out of the picture. But one day, the Buddha turns back and looks at all of the followers following his footsteps. And all the followers following the footsteps are all coming from different places. Some of you are in A, some of you are in B, some of you are in C. So the Buddha was thinking, well, now all of you are coming from different places. If I tell you to go up, it will only apply to C because you are now on the different valley. But for B and A, if Buddha tells us to go up, they would not understand. What do you mean by going up? For us, it's flat. It's a flat land, right? For A, what they need right now is take a left turn. You are coming onto a loop. Take a left turn and don't go. Take a right turn and don't go to the left one because you're going to a fork that's going to go into a maze. You want to go and take a right turn. And for A, that answer would be perfectly applicable. But for B, that answer will not work because if you take a right turn, you're going to stay in the loop and you're going to be looping there and you will not be able to get out. So for Buddha, the Buddha had to give you different sutras for different situations. For A, what you need is this particular sutra. For B, you need a particular instruction so that you will not be in a loop forever. And for C, you're further away. You need something else differently. So the Buddha will explain the sutra to all A and B and C. But A and B and C needs to understand, well, how does this apply to me? And that's what we talk about the support system early on. You must first know the teachings of the Buddha. You must first understand and then think and contemplate, how does this apply to me? How does it work to help me resolve my situation? So each sutra has a different purpose. Each sutra is focused for different situation and different audience. But one thing that never changes is where the Buddha stands. Where the Buddha stands is not changing, but where we stand is different. We all have different capacities and capabilities, and therefore we need to know how to get to where Buddha is. So remember last week we talked about, for everything, you turn on your cell phone and you open Google Map. And you open Google Map, the first thing it does for you is to GPS position you where you are. We need to know where we are. We need to know, are we at A, or are we at B, or are we at C? And then we need to know where we want to go. So you key in the Jing abode address. You key into your phone. And the third step is, it will tell you how to go from where you are to the Buddha, to where you want to go. So in this case, first thing you know is you know where you are. Are you at A, or are you at B, or are you at C? The second step is, where do you want to go? I want to go to where the Buddha is sitting right now. Okay. Then the Google Map application will tell you the fastest route there. Same thing. You need to know where we are. We need to understand what the problems that we're encountering, and also our problems, our shortcomings, our shortfalls. Then we need to understand, where do we want to go to? Who do we want to become? And in this case, it's whatever Master share with us. Master is trying to tell us the living Bodhisattva is the people, is what we need to achieve, is what we want to accomplish. And now, knowing where we are on the map and knowing where we want to go to on the map, the sutra will compose a fastest route there. And so, who is this? What is this application? What is this Google Map application? That's our Master. The Master is helping us to identify where we are by showing us that we have all these poisons, that we have all these problems and shortcomings. And Master also shows us what kind of people that we should become. That is why Master connect us to other people in different places. Master will share with us the stories of African volunteers. The Master will share with us the stories of environmental recycling and sorting volunteers. And Master is telling us, these are the people that should be role models. These are the people that we should learn to become. So Master is sharing with us where we are right now. She is sharing with us who we should become. And then she's sharing with us the Dharma of how we can go from where we are and becoming who we want to become. And that's Dharma. The Dharma is to help you identify where we are. The Dharma is to help us identify where we want to go. And the Dharma is to take us from here to there. So the sutra is a way for us to know and understand what we want to do and where we want to go and how to get there. And that's the key. So different sutra has a different meaning, but all of it does not escape the central core idea of explaining what we should do at different situations. So if we stop to think about, I am only at A, and therefore I will only understand A, from A to the Buddha. Or I'm only at C, and I will not care about what people at A are thinking. That's not Buddhism is about. Yes, you are going to figure out the route for you to get from C to where the Buddha is. But it's also by studying other sutra, you understand that for people at A, they can get to the Buddha by going to study different sutra. Because maybe, just maybe, one day you will be at where A is. And that sutra will come in handy. Maybe, just maybe, your family, your sibling, your friend will be standing at A and they will be trapped, not knowing where to go. So knowing these things will help you move them, and move yourself. Because you might one day go to where A is. You're not always going to be at C. So all these sutras serve a purpose at a particular time to a particular audience. But it will never leave the greater purpose of showing you the direction. And that's where the Buddha is. So that will never escape that central core idea of always leading you where the Buddha is. And that's what it means. Connected to the cosmos, connected to everybody. It's no longer just you, yourself, and your problems. Buddhism is about connecting you to the cosmos, to all the people around you, to all the time that is before you and after you, and that is right now. And that is why Master said today, in today's rerun, Master said that it's 2,500 years ago, but the teaching applies today. Because the Buddha wasn't talking to the people 2,500 years ago. Buddha was not talking to the people right now either. Buddha is talking to all the people at all the space and in all the time. Same thing. That's what the Master is doing too. Master is not just talking to the people in Malaysia or the people in America or in Africa. Master is talking to the people of now and the future. Master is talking to people of here and in other places. That's what Buddhism is all about. It's trying to connect you to everything and anything and every time and any time. And that's what's talking about transcending beyond time and space. No longer is it just about you and me. It's about all of us. No longer is it about talking about now and here and right now, but it's talking about all the time, every place. So when you talk about you losing a sibling, it's not just you losing a sibling. It's all of us losing a sibling. It's all of us losing that. When you're talking about somebody getting the bad bunt of, getting the bad deal and somebody getting the good deal, it's talking about all of us. We're all in this together. We're all in this collectively. And it's not just the now, but in the greater scope of time, things are all going to be even and we're all connected. So, the other question, there are many phenomena in this world that cannot be explained by science. How does Tzu Chi explain these strange phenomena? And let me tell you, Tzu Chi doesn't explain these strange phenomena, but rather Tzu Chi creates these phenomena. How do you explain all the things that Tzu Chi have been able to accomplish? These are not something that can be explained by science. If you take a nun, a Buddhist nun, in her early 30s, in the late 20s and early 30s, making a great vow of building a hospital in the post-Second World War Taiwan, everybody would tell you, this does not happen. It cannot, logically, it does not happen, but it happened. So Tzu Chi is here to prove that science, while it shows you the possibilities, but it restricts you into something, it bounds you into here and now. It bounds you into something that's called logic. But Buddhism, once again, it talks about connecting to the cosmos, connecting to beyond the time and space. It connects to everybody. Master believed that if we are connecting everyone together, you would have a force that's beyond just you and me. She believed that 1 + 1 is greater than 2, But try to explain that to a mathematician, that 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. You can't. That's what science tells you. 1 plus 1 must equal to 2. While it gives you a very good direction and guidance, it bounds you into the now and here. But Master is trying to tell you, hey, if you believe, if you have the will, if you have the belief and the faith to do this, you are going to be able to connect everybody together. And when you have the cosmos connected, when you have the cosmos and everything and every time connected, then you're going to go beyond the time and space. At that time, you are no longer bounded by science. Then you will be able to explain the things not explainable by science, because science can only explain the things that's within its boundary. And the things that are not bounded are not being able to explain. So that's what Buddhism really is. It's trying to connect you to the people, to the things, to the time that is completely beyond now, here, you, and I. So that is why Master always talks about, do we remember the time from 53 years ago? Do we remember the time of all the things that Master had done before? Do we remember? She wants us to remember, because it's not just the here and the now. It's the time in the past. It's the time in the future. It's the time in the right now. It's not just the people that we are in contact with today, but it's the people that we used to have contact with. It's the people that we have yet to make contact with. And that's called transcending. So once again, another question. When one person feels helpless in facing big challenges, how can chanting and prayers help? And it does calm one's mind to enable clearer thinking, etc. But some people actually claim that chanting helps them overcome challenges, cannot understand the logic behind it. Once again, we are bounded by the logic that is limited by our knowledge. But you cannot deny that there might be Dharma protectors or God or some beings that we cannot see. And that's what I'm talking about. Connecting to the cosmos. It doesn't mean connecting to the things that we do not see, because that's beyond my knowledge. That is beyond what I can tell you, definitively exist or not. Are there some Dharma protectors here and now that I cannot see? Well, if I cannot see, I cannot tell you, right? I cannot prove it to you. But I believe that what we are doing is connecting. I am right now connecting to you through my voice, to your ears, to your nerves, and to your neurons, and now you can hear me. But more than that, our hearts are connected. Our minds are connected. Our wills are connected. Our faith is connected. And that to me is already beyond logic. That to me is already beyond science. And that to me makes me feel no longer helpless, because it's not just you that lost a sibling. It's we all. It's not just you that is gaining the prosperity. It's we all. And we feel that together. You no longer feel helpless. When we are standing there with you, even though I'm here and you are there, you no longer feel helpless. And so when you are chanting, in a way, you are trying to go into yourself and thinking, how am I connected to the world? How am I connected to the cosmos? Because when you're connected to the world, when you have billions of people's will behind your back, then your situation all of a sudden feels not so bad. When all the goodwill of the people is behind you and it's with you, when you're chanting and praying for other people, and there are other people are chanting and praying for you, maybe, just maybe, the problems that we face isn't so bad after all, because you have the world behind you. So defying logic actually just means transcending. Transcending what we know, transcending what we hear and see. And that's why last week there was a question. Does that mean that, if you're able to turn the knowledge, and consciousness into wisdom, does that mean that we will be enlightened? And the answer is absolutely yes. If we're able to connect to the things, all the things, big and small, all around us, to all the people far and near, all around us, then we will be able to transcend, and we will be able to define logic, and we will be able to achieve that peace and joy that every one of us is trying to achieve. So that's pretty much, and I don't have time to take the last question, but we will save it for next week. And I really wanted to give a shout out before I hand it over to all of you. Let me extend my appreciation, and let me give a shout out to what we have here today. And today what we have here are our brothers from Africa. That's why I'm always talking about Africa today. They're here today because they're here for a very important meeting. Let's wave to everybody here. Okay, they're here and they're listening. And now let's hand it over to Sister Xiaoqing. And I think you have a very wonderful sharing for us today. Thank you. Thank you.
Sister Tzu Chi has asked me to share. So what I will be sharing is related to what Brother Joe has spoken last week, which is peacefulness refuge. So I'm going to share what happened to me about almost 2 months ago. 2 months ago, and even right now, I have some life choices that have been troubling me for quite some time. And I find a lot of difficulties in, even though some of the choices that I have, I already know what is the best choice and so on, but somehow I find it very difficult to stay firm on my choices and also to accept the fact that these are only the choices that I have and decisions that I should make. So for that, I have a few problems that I have in my mind, and it was very emotionally tiring as well. And it has been affecting me in my daily life. Because I was very reluctant to accept the fact and so on. So it has been very hard on me as well. And I find it very difficult to continue in other daily life activities as well, because it's something that it has affected me very hard. I think for the time being, I'm not ready to share what are those choices that I'm mentioning, but then it's some life choices that affects us daily, which I believe that all of us share as well. And so during that point of time, I was invited by one of our sisters back to go to Hualien, back to abroad for a trip for about a week. So anyhow, I was very lucky that I somehow gained the permission and I had the time to do that. While I was back to abroad for a week, it was very busy. Somehow I felt peacefulness, and I was very happy to do that. So I guess that is what Brad mentioned last week, which is actually a peacefulness refuge. Somehow, even though you have all those trouble and so on, but then going back to abroad, it actually offers you a place to seek refuge, and it also offers you some kind of peacefulness. After the trip back to abroad, back to my life again and back to my daily lives and so on. Although it doesn't mean that I have solved all my problems, because all my problems came back again. But somehow this time around, certain problems that troubled me the most, somehow I had the answers and I'm ready to accept it. And finally, I'm ready to make a very choice and follow through whatever that I have decided. So, I actually managed to go through it, although it wasn't a very easy decision, and it requires a lot of effort and probably through something and so on. But anyway, it has helped me to go through it, and I'm happy that I choose whatever that I have decided, and also stay through the course and ensure that my decision is final. So I guess that is how I relate to what does peacefulness refuge.
Thank you very much, Sister Jing. Today, we not only have Sister Jing here connected to all of us here, we also have, very happy to have Sister Jing's mother, who have chosen to be connected to the whole world. Okay, that's all the sharing from Kapong.
Okay, first of all, thank you. And I do feel that I do feel.
Brother Joe. Yeah, Gan En.
Yes. Okay. Hi. First of all, let me say that when I hear Sister Jing share, I do feel that my heart did sink, even though I do not know what happened, even though I do not know you, know Sister Jing before, but I can feel that it must be a difficult decision, and it must be something that was very, very heavy, and I can see that it weighs heavily on you. And for that, I think anyone that sees this would feel the pain. And I wish that I can do what I can to take some of that pain for you, and take that burden from you. And I'm glad that on your trip back to Hualien, to the abode, you found something. You found something that helps you to locate that peace and joy. And I think ultimately that's what I really believe also, is that a lot of times when we are injured, we go home because that's where we can find the medicine. And it's not just the medicine that we are finding. It's actually the refuge. The refuge itself isn't just the place that offers you solution, but it offers you connection, and it offers you the sense of understanding that Sister Jing, regardless of what decisions or troubles that you had to go through, that these people are here without question, supporting and having your back. And they are supporting for you, they're cheering for you. And you should always believe that's what going home means. And to be in Tzu Chi means that the home is at Hualien, but also the home is at where you are right now. You are among family. So even though we might not have seen each other before, or even though we might not get a chance to really talk to each other, I can feel it must have been a very difficult pain, and it must have been very difficult choice that you had to make. And it's still going on, so it was very difficult. And I can feel that, and I'm sure a lot of us feel the same way too. And we have nothing but the most well wish for you and strength for you, that whatever you need, I am sure that you can ask people around you and they will be willing to offer you the strength that you need. And it doesn't mean material or physical. It just means that a pat in the back, and it just means that something to wish you well. And that's what we can give you. And believe it or not, when there are thousands and thousands of people, far and near, and people that don't even know you, but trying to wish you the best, that is going to be a very, very positive energy that I hope that you will use to confront whatever challenge that you are going to feel and confront. So thank you for your sharing. And I hope that within this refuge, not only did you find the peace and the sanctum, but you also find a way to help you get through all the difficulties. And also you will understand that you have that refuge in you as well. It's not just in the home in Hualien, but you have always also carry that home, that refuge in you. So when you're hurt, you can also look within and you can find that. And also you will become the refuge for other people as well. So thank you, Sister Jing, and nothing but the best for you, and nothing but the most well wish for you. And I hope the best for you. And also hello to your mother, and hope everything will work out and you have all of our support. Thank you.
Hello, good morning to all brothers and sisters around the globe. Today, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just now I forgotten to unmute. Okay. So I would like to share with you all about the recycling exhibition that we have conducted it in April this year. It was an invitation by the Pasan management. In fact, they actually invite us to provide 1 month exhibition, but in our community, most of our volunteers, we are working. So, and it is also our Tzu Chi practice to normally do exhibition, we will do it 2 days. But because of the restriction of time, Pasan management require us to do it only specific in the month of April, because in conjunction with the Earth Day. So in the month of April, we also have quite a number of Tzu Chi activities. So we will only able to do it only for 1 day exhibition instead of 2 days, because the next day, Sunday, would be our training for the volunteers in Zheng Si Tang. Okay, so I would like to quickly go through the slide. We have this section A, the origin of pollution. So we will mention we will inform the public about the carbon footprint. So basically the climate change because of the rubbish and also the CO2, the increase of the CO2 and also transportation, and increase of the industrial development. And lastly would be the resource extraction, like livestock. Because of human, we demand for the burger, we need to eat the cow meat. And in US, there is a lot of forests need to do a deforestation. It's just that to fulfill the human craving for meat. Okay. During the exhibition, we will have 1 booth to encourage public to use their own utensil. This is to reduce the quantity of the rubbish. And of course, most of us, we are aware that the using of the polystyrene create a lot of harmfulness to the earth and also to the human health. We also have this section B, which is the imbalance of 4 major elements. We have this landfill model to create awareness to public about if we throw, the more rubbish that we throw out, then the landfill will be increased. And if we are doing recycling and we cut down majority of the, or I would say 70% of the rubbish at home that can be recycled, so the landfill will be reduced. If everyone play our role to do recycling and send the recycled item to the recycling center. Okay. We also explain to public about climate change, about the condition now in North Pole that the ice is melting and the suffering of this polar bear. And we have this earthquake model. And this earthquake model is invented by 1 brother from Taman Desa, which is Brother Francis. And this model, in fact, it can shake. When there's a button, we press it, then this model it will shake like a earthquake. Then next we also have some poster to show the public about pollution of the earth. When we throw a lot of rubbish on the earth, then it causes a lot of pollution, and also the water pollution and also air pollution. Okay, we have this sea turtle model to create awareness to public about our simple act of throwing a plastic bag and a straw everywhere. It may cause a lot of suffering to our sea animal. Like for this sea turtle, because of the straw floating in the sea, so this 1 straw has go into the nose of this sea turtle. It causes a lot of suffering to the sea animal. And what we can do is we have to do something to save our earth, because recycling is everybody's responsibility, because we live in the only one earth in this world. So we will educate the public to do recycling, start from home. And we also encourage the public to send to us those items, wash it at home, because most of the volunteers at the recycling centers are elderly. And we also educate the public about 10 fingers formula display and inform to show them the display item, what are the items that can be recycled and sent to our recycling center. So the next section would be Thai technology and vegetarian. So most of the people, they are not aware about plastic bottle can make into something useful like a eco blanket, clothing, hat, and bags. And we also inform the public that this eco blanket is not for sales. It is mainly for charity purposes, and we will only give away this eco blanket to the victims of the global natural disaster victims. And we also promote about the vegetarian. We can only inform the public that we have to eat less meat to increase more vegetarian, because it is for our health purpose, one thing, and secondly for the environmental friendly. Okay, we have the section, another section we got this recycling games and education for the parent-child bonding, for the children and parents to do the sorting out of the item. They will use the flashcard to put into this biscuit container. And these are the recycling games using recycled item to create some games. Meaning to say we can reuse the item instead of before we have the last option to recycle it. And these are the craft that one of the sister, we learned it from one Sedang center. Okay, so to show the public, actually we can reuse and remake the item into something more beneficiary. Okay, I will quickly show some of the slide about during our setting up. The carton box that we hang on the pillar is to represent tree. And in fact, it is not easy to do the cutting of this carton box because it is quite thick. Okay, so we have some of the volunteers, around 20 over, to do the setting up on the Friday afternoon time. Okay, these are the booths that we completed the setting up. So these are the landfill. Then these areas are some buntings poster about recycling. Okay, the Thai technology and the vegetarian. Okay, I would like to share about the mindfulness. I still remember when I first joined Tzu Chi, I love Master Cheng Yen teaching very much. So I'm a bit curious why at beginning of the teaching of Master Cheng Yen, she will mention be mindful, and at the end of the speech, she will always mention be mindful. So throughout the experience and the walking of this Bodhisattva path, I really feel that mindfulness is very important. Even sometimes myself, I also didn't practice mindfulness 100%. So during this exhibition, right, most of the items that you all see just now are not from Puchong community. We learned it from other center, Taman Desa, Cheng Su Hall, and also a Sedang community. So when we invited one of the brother Francis from Taman Desa, he will brief us of the models that belongs to his community. So when he start with this 10 finger formula, he asked all of us, where is the head of this 10 finger formula? And none of us noticed, this 10 finger formula, there is a head, okay? So this brother Francis, he is very kind. He said, oh, never mind. After we go through this, he will find where is the head, okay? And eventually when he come to this model, which is the comparison of the living environment, if we are doing recycling and we are taking care of the earth, our future generation, we will live in this nice environment. If we didn't taking care of our environment, on the other contrast, it may be full of skeleton and rubbish. So when come to this model on the last session, so finally we found the head for this 10 finger formula, which is this green color glass. Okay, these are some pictures during the exhibition. The crowd we will say is quite okay. We have Malay, Chinese, and Indians with a family and children. Okay, there's one corner we are presenting the video, which is cover the Penang flood, Malaysia Penang flood, the East Coast flood, environmental protection, and also the mission of charity, medical outreach, and education in the video for the public to view it. Okay, these are the craft using recycled material, homemade games. And the children, they are happy to play the homemade games. And these are the recruitment corner. Okay, I would like to share about this, my colleague. Okay, in fact, very beginning when I joined the Xin Fa Xiang, Master Life Xin Fa Xiang at 5:20, from this Xin Fa Xiang, I learned about global warming. I learned about climate change. I never thought be vegetarian is the faster way to combat climate change. So during the Xin Fa Xiang, I know about this vegetarian is the faster way to combat climate change. So when I started my new job in year 2001-5, so I start to take the courage to promote vegetarian, to tell more people about climate change. To my surprise, actually, most of the colleagues in our office doesn't know about climate change. They don't even know all this. They are okay. So this colleague called Justine, I still remember very clearly that the first week I report to work, he's sitting next to me. I told him, can you practice every Monday International Vegetarian? He very fast responded to me. He said, Tammy, I'm a meat eater. There's no way for me to be vegetarian even for one day. Okay, so the second week, during our conversation, he suddenly says that he feel very hot. Middle of the night, he woke up because of too hot, because his room is only having a fan. Then I told him, if you feel hot, then you can you do something for the environment, because now the earth is really in danger. Then his reply is much better compared to the first week. He said he will consider to be vegetarian only on Monday, which is International Vegetarian. Later on the third week, there's another colleague. She also knows about recycling. Then she told me that she wanted to be vegetarian for her health purpose. But then she said very difficult for her. So this another lady colleague, she purposely go to the bookshop and bought one small book. The title of the book called The Harmful of Eating Meat. So this lady colleague, she wanted to share to me this mini book. So during our lunchtime, she showed it to me, so I have a look. Later on, my colleague Justine, she came over to join us for the lunch, and then I also passed to her this mini book. It's full of picture and a few sentences. So very quickly, my colleague Justine, he flipped through this mini book, and then he told us he decided that the next day onward he will be vegetarian for his health purpose and also environmental purpose. And now he's very persistent. He can be vegetarian for almost 2 years now. Of course, very beginning he's not so pure vegetarian, and he don't want to trouble the hawker. Then if there is a little minor meat or fish ball, he will just take it. But of course, if there is a choice, he will choose for vegetarian. And another progress of him, he even better than me, because from this year onward, beginning of this year, January, he told me that he will be vegan. Means no more egg and also cow milk. Okay, I told him he has the right decision and he has the right way to go for it. Okay, during the exhibition, we have this plastic man and plastic lady. I'm very grateful to Sister Vijaya that she's there to put on this plastic so that we can extract more cloud to come in. And we also give away this gold green recycle bag to the public. After that, we will ask them to hold this cardboard, use recycle bag, and later on we will usher them to our recycling exhibition, because in front of our recycling booth is the supermarket. So it's easier for us to bring the crowd to our exhibition hall. Okay, quickly run through some of the summary from the shopper feedback. They mentioned that this kind of exhibition very informative, impactful, presentable, and it's the best way to increase awareness to practice in our daily life. And some even say that should do more days instead of 1 day. And also, if can, we have supported by the government, will have a better effect. They're very educational, and should do it always, not only for adults but for younger generation to realize the importance to preserve the wildlife. And there is a eye-opening event. Happy to see the setup, very creative, good effort, and well done. Very impressed. And this is the picture of the parent-child bonding. The children and the parents came for the exhibition because we also collaborate. I mean, we work together with the parent-child bonding volunteer to make it a compulsory lesson for them to come to learn about recycling. Okay, I would like to quickly share about this couple. I really admire them because they are doing spiritual cultivation together, and we are quite inspired by their story, how they get into Tzu Chi. So hopefully another upcoming sharing from Puchong, we are able to hear from these two, from this couple. Okay, this picture I would like to share about 3 of us, myself, Sister Vijaya, and Jack. Jack is Genji, Sister Vijaya is patient this year. 3 of us, we make a commitment to do door-to-door promotion of recycling and bamboo bank coins, and to promote more public to make a wish for others people when they drop a single cent in this bamboo bank. And this is last year door-to-door recycling at this Pangsapuri Aman. In this Pangsapuri Aman, this apartment, below is one center, it's a one shop lot, that is a recycling center under care by us in Puchong. Through this promotion of the recycling at our fixed point at this recycling center on one of the Saturday after English Dharma talk, I truly realized this Cheng Yen aphorism that is giving is not the privilege of the rich, it is the privilege of the sincere person. Why did I say that? Because last year there's one experience when we do the promotion of the recycling to the resident in these apartments. I saw a father and a children, they are foreigner. We went over to tell them about the recycling. So we show them the leaflet and what are the items can be recycled and what are the items cannot be recycled. So when later on, because of the language barrier, so they didn't respond much to us. We try our best to tell them in the language or in the language that they can understand. So later on, the wife came with a guni bag. So later on, the husband, who listened to the education of this recycling item, the husband talked to the wife in their language, in their local language, which we don't understand. Probably they are from Myanmar, I guess. So this husband told the wife that some of the item in their home that can be recycled, they can send over to our recycle center for charity purposes to help the needy people. So later on, this family, the husband and wife and the little girl is about to walk away to go back home. So in few seconds, this mother holding a guni bag, she stopped and then she present to us the guni bag. So we volunteer, few of us, we open up the guni bag. Inside the guni bag is actually this aluminium cane with some end. So we guess that this mother, she actually picked up this recycled item from the garbage bin, the big garbage bin, because behind this apartment there is one garbage bin tong, the tong. So we probably guess that she go into the tong to pick up this recycled item, probably to support their living. So I would like to show this picture about this Sister Sinyong. During my Cheng Chi time, I don't quite understand this sentence that is to benefit others first is actually benefiting ourselves. Until I really go through the journey during the Cheng Chi time, I have to be the the person to open the Puchong Center, and also to control the AV system, to connect with Hualien team about the sharing of this English Dharma talk. So, I still remember one of the Saturday, I feel very, very tired, and I got a little bit of discursive thought that is in my mind. I'm thinking, because that time is very beginning, taking the role of focal. So I have to repent that I have this negative thought that is, I told my inner heart, what am I doing here alone to control the AV, and I do not know the crowd, the attendance in this Puchong Center. So we carry on the Dharma talk. Then on the same day itself, after the Dharma talk, we will do a sharing section. And this Sister Sinyong, she told us that she shared that after she attended around 3 months the English Dharma talk, although she says she don't quite understand what is Dharma, but she feels that her heart, she's more calm and she's less complaining, and she's much willing to do her housework alone without the assistance from the family member. So with her this kind of feedback, I feel very joyful. So I can realize this to benefit others first is actually benefiting ourselves. What actually benefit me is the joy, the happiness that I can still remember that happened 2 years back. That is the happiness. Means I can endure or tolerate my sleepiness to open the center early in the morning, that we can benefit to other audience in Puchong. Okay, it's almost to end. This is the group picture after the recycling exhibition. Okay, Gan En so much for hearing my sharing. Thank you.
Sister Tammy, thank you for your sharing. Like you said, with all the effort to help with the environmental recycling, it's actually very important as we are connected to the world, connected to each other. So very lastly, I know we're over time, but very lastly, I have Brother Asif here from South Africa, who is going to have a short sharing with us. Thank you.
Good day, brothers and sisters. My name is Asif Machata. I've been sent by the African Caucus to Taiwan. It's my first time. What I would like to share about is the feeling that I had when we first went to the prayer in the morning. I may not understand the language, but then I could feel the atmosphere. I could understand what was happening through my feelings. And then we had a time to go to the garden. We were plowing there, we were doing a lot of things in the garden, but we had a master who was guiding us to do exactly the right thing in the garden. As we were plowing in the garden, like I imagined what I was doing, and I implied it in my life as a human being. Sometimes we need to cultivate other people's lives. We need to do good things to other people. But then we cannot do good things to other people if our hearts are full of hatred and bad things. We need to make sure that our hearts are clean so that we can be able to clean other people's hearts. At the Jing, there are a lot of volunteers and the masters. They're showing love every time. When you go past by them, they greet you in a very humble way, which is a very good thing. And I promise that whatever I learn here, I'll make sure that I bring back home and spread the seed of love throughout the country or throughout the continent, Africa as a whole. I'm not actually from South Africa, I'm from Africa. I'm here for Africa. Whatever I'm going to learn here, I'm going to spread it throughout the world. For Master once said that we as volunteers, we must we must embody herself in everything that we do. We must be her eyes, we must be her feet, we must be her hands in everything we do. So as you know that Master stays at Jing, she cannot go abroad and do the things on her own. But we as volunteers, we are there to make sure that we fulfill her goals. Everything that we do, we embody her. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Brother Asif. And that is all for our sharing for today. We're so happy to have all of us here connected. Whether you're the hands or the feet, we're all connected in our hearts. And we're connected here at the abode. Whether you're here from Africa, Asia, America, we're all here in the same. Okay, so thank you all and goodbye. We'll see all of you next week. Okay, bye-bye.